Trust now.
Hey, Sweep the League listeners, Rudy Campos Jr. coming to you with another Sweep Unplugged. Be sure to go to our YouTube page. Go to YouTube, search Sweep the League TV. Be a subscriber. Again, we're giving away a lot of prizes, and we're coming to you with another Sweep Unplugged. Myself and Shamaya on the beats, getting these interviews done for you, introducing everybody in the sports world and unplugging them from the sports world to everybody outside of the sports world in some instances. Today, we're actually going to be joined by a great person, Yogi Aaron, and I consider him the yoga master, the yoga Zen master. So we're going to talk to him today and get some insight on the proper ways of stretching. I hear you can stretch and hurt yourself, and also a life-changing story that he's going to be able to share with us here on Sweep Unplugged. And you know what? We're not going to hesitate anymore. Let's go ahead and bring him on here. Yogi Aaron, how you doing, sir?
Thank you so much, Rudy, for having me on. And thanks for that great intro.
Oh, no problem. I don't know very many yoga instructors, so you are definitely the yoga master. So I'm just going to call you the yoga master there, if that's perfectly fine.
Sure. I don't think of myself as a master, but I appreciate the sentiment. I really do.
No worries, man. I wanted to ask you real quick. So, we do a lot of sports talk, and pretty much
Sure.
primarily we do a lot of live talk on the actual show for Sweep the League TV. But in the sports world, stretching is so big.
Yeah.
Obviously, before you get started in the game, even during the game, you'll see players come off the field, come off the court, still
Yeah.
working with the trainers and stretching. But something that caught my eye when I was looking at your profile and everything was there is such thing as improper stretching. Can you kind of go into that a little bit?
Sure. Any kind of stretching, really, where we're forcing a muscle to go beyond its capacity, is going to cause some damage. And a lot of people listening to this are going, show me the science, show me the proof. And there's a simple word, it's called proprioception.
Mhm.
So anytime we start to force the body to do something or to force a stretch, we disconnect that proprioception. All of a sudden, the brain literally doesn't know where things are in space. And so when you want to use your body, if you're an athlete and you go and stretch, you're actually going to become weaker afterwards. And there's been a lot of not only studies done on this, we can actually see what happens biomechanically. And you are starting to hear whispers of professionals saying, don't passively stretch before you work out,
Mhm.
wait until after the workout. And I will follow up with that statement and say, don't stretch before your workout and don't stretch after your workout. There's absolutely no reason to stretch. Muscles have to contract in order to move bones and stabilize joints. And so what we want to do is improve their contractibility. This whole idea of making muscles longer, it's just some sort of myth that's been propagated. And the group think is that we have to do that. Nobody really challenges that. And then when we do, we're ostracized. And so I'm making as much noise as I can because so many people are in pain and dealing with that pain by stretching more. If you think about like an elastic band that's kind of breaking,
Mhm.
you don't stretch that elastic band to make it better.
Yeah.
It's the same idea with your muscles.
I get it. Speaking of, pain, my wife for the longest time, and knock on wood, she hasn't had any issues lately, but she has really bad sciatic pain. So she
Yeah,
always, stretches, and when she's get that pain that shoots down her leg,
yeah,
it's just terrible. And I've seen her pull out the yoga mat, stretch. So that's the best thing she can do it for it. But before I want to get into a story with you in a little while here, but before we get into it, you've kind of dealt with pain. You were saying
yes.
your neck pain and other pains as well. And yoga stretching pretty much was the relief of that. And like I said, knowing from my wife, knowing that she does it, I
Yeah.
can truly say that it is something that does work miracles.
Sure. Stretching, temporarily will make you feel better. And I could get into a long-winded explanation of why that happens. But the thing is like you're not really dealing with the root problem. Your wife has sciatic pain, and I know a lot about sciatic pain. I know a lot about too much about sciatic pain. And so there's a few reasons why that it's not healing. And so when
Mhm.
she gets onto her yoga mat, there's a lot of things that she's going to do that's going to temporarily make her feel better, but it's actually making the problem worse in the long run.
Mhm.
And so the thing that she wants to do is get the muscles working that are supporting the spine. There's a lot of issues with sciatica. A lot of the issues come from disc herniation, those discs pushing into nerves. And so there's instability. Those discs are coming out because those muscles aren't working properly. Always remember, muscles move bones, muscles stabilize joints. And so
Mhm.
when those joints aren't stabilized, the discs are going to play havoc on pressing onto those nerves. And so once we get those muscles working, we get the hip muscles working properly, the sciatic pain goes away. I do get flare-ups with sciatica still, to this day, and I can always deal with them within a day or two,
Mhm.
and usually faster, just by getting the muscles working. So that pain is like the check engine light of the body coming on saying, hey, there's a problem here. We need to address it. And the problem is that the muscles aren't working properly. So once we get the muscles working, we deal with the issues of the pain.
Yeah, see, it's not easy for everybody to understand it. It gets a little more
Yeah.
complicated, and that's why we've got you on the complications of stuff because we all feel like, oh, you know what? Let me just pop a couple of Tylenol and I'll be fine for a while. I mean,
Yes.
that's why on the bottle it says temporarily relieves pain. The pain's still going to
Yes.
be there at the end of the day. So I
Yeah.
totally understand on that. We're talking to Yogi Aaron here now. Also, he has the Blue Osa Yoga Retreat in Costa Rica, and also offers online. It's AYAMA certificate program in the Yogi Club. So appreciate you joining us on here on Sweep Unplugged. We talked diet, we talked stretching, we talked sciatica, we talked a little bit about that. But the one thing that I did want to get with you before we go into the biggest topic I wanted to talk about was some life changing experience for you. But
Yeah.
I was a big guy probably 6 years ago. When I say big, my journey's online a little bit. So during COVID actually, uh, I got COVID, went to the doctor. I was in really bad shape, but prior to that, I weighed upwards in most about 470 something pounds. And I was in the 5XL t-shirts, and I'm a short guy. I'm 5'8". So I was in the tall, big guy. I was the wide, big guy. So going to JC Penney and shopping in the big and tall and all that stuff. And I,
Sure.
COVID basically, brought me awareness to that. I've since lost. I weigh 237 now, I think. So I think the lowest I've gotten to is 217. So over 200 something pounds lost. But someone told me that yoga can be a really good form of weight loss training. I
Hmm.
wanted to ask you how that is because I want to dive into yoga, and knowing that I heard a couple people say, you know what, it helps you with getting in shape. It helps you with weight loss. How true is that statement?
I've had students come to me who have lost weight and they attribute it to yoga.
Mhm.
I don't know that there's something in the actual practice that we're doing that's going to help people. Like I don't know that you can make a direct line. I
Mhm.
think you can make a squiggly line. and and part of that is that when you get into, so yoga is the practice of getting into your body
Yeah.
and being at home in your body. And I, I think generally we can say that when you're at home, you want to make sure that your home is taken care of.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of, and again, these are just sweeping general statements, but a lot of issues around people's health sometimes comes from people just not feeling at home, and they lose that sense of, I don't know if this is the correct word, but caring. Like there's this disconnect. And so yoga connects us, and a lot of people's habits start to change. People that are smoking quit smoking. People that are, not eating healthy start eating more healthy. And
Mhm.
there's habits that start to change. We just intrinsically want to feel more better. We want to feel more in our body. And so yoga is the practice of feeling at home in our body, and it creates a discipline in our mind. And so a lot of weight issues, and again, these are little general sweeping comments, but a lot of weight issues comes, and I'm speaking from personal experience as well, just from bad habits and being or unconscious habits. So yoga helps us to become, more conscious about what we're doing. Maybe we're going to McDonald's every night for dinner. And then all of a sudden we start doing yoga and we're like, I want something a little bit healthier
Yeah.
tonight. And so by doing that, we start to become more healthy. And I hope that you keep going with your practice and your journey. I mean, congratulations. That's
Thank you.
huge.
Thank you. I'm trying to get, my ideal was to get to 190, and
Uh-huh.
I was doing good down to 217. I'm like, I'm going good. And then we
Yeah.
decided, let's buy a house. I'm like, oh crap. All right. So there's another 20 pounds that I added. So stress and everything. So pretty much bought a
Yes.
house, and yeah, I'm working towards that 190 goal. So I think
Good.
really what it is with yoga is what you clearly said, and it's a great point, was the fact that yoga trains our body. We get into our inner selves and our body. We start to see
Yes.
what our body likes, and that's kind of what I felt. Because yoga is also a mentality thing. It's to
Yeah.
put you in peace of mind. It's to relax you. So I really like that, and I think I'm gonna pick it up a little bit more because of the fact that, like you mentioned, the body's a temple, basically. You gotta take care of your body. You gotta make sure you're putting, the great stuff in there, eating the right stuff, and I've been able to do that a lot. So I figured, I think just kinda getting more in my mind and being at peace with it and relaxed probably would help me get these last, 30 something pounds down. So I'm
Sure.
definitely gonna try that. Appreciate the insight on that. And we are talking to Yogi Aaron. I gotta ask again, one more thing. You got something cool. You got a little journey going on here, where you started a practice for yoga. You've gotten all the way to the Blue Osa, right? If I'm saying that, Blue Osa Yoga
Blue
Retreat
Osa. Yes.
in Costa Rica, and that's currently, I guess, where you're still doing a lot of the stuff in Costa Rica. How is
Yes.
I've never been to Costa. I don't even like going outside of Texas half the time. So, how is Costa Rica, and how is the Blue Osa retreat going?
It's going really well, thank you. We found it in 2007. I was leading a yoga retreat in Costa Rica, driving down the road, and then I saw the Century 21 sign outside this property. And I looked into the gate, and past the gate, there was this tunnel of hibiscus flowers and bougainvilleas. And it was mesmerizing. And at the end of the tunnel was the view of this turquoise blue ocean. And I
Mhm.
thought to myself, this has got to become my home. And so it did. And that's where we opened Blue Osa Yoga Retreat. And we opened in 2010. So this is our 15th year of being open. And so very blessed to have this thriving business. But even more, a sanctuary for people to come and as I was saying earlier, to become more at home within themselves. And that's my goal as a yoga teacher, to help people feel at home within themselves. If you ask most people in the world today, where is home, they're people are very disconnected from
Mhm.
themselves, from their bodies, from their minds, their breath. And so the goal of yoga is to restore our sense of being at home within ourselves, our inner sanctuary.
Yeah, that's the way you described it. And actually, I caught your I don't. It's on YouTube. I guess your
Mhm.
documentary on it, and the way you described it there is the exact same way you want to describe it. We're going to share your YouTube documentary on the show as well, so that way people can go check it out. But yeah, it looks like an amazing place.
It's
Love the
special.
story where it's funny you said Century 21. I'm like, golly, that was when I was a kid, and I remember Century 21 signs all over the place. Now
Yeah.
you see Keller Williams all over the place. So I mean, I completely forgot about Century 21, but yeah, the
Yeah.
Blue Osa in Costa Rica. The one thing I do want to get into, this is our going to be our last topic, talking to Yogi Aaron here. Appreciate him joining us here on Sweep Unplugged, was a certain journey, a certain trek that you made, and it was through
Mhm.
what you consider the sacred Himalayas, and you had a life-changing experience on that journey right there. As kind of painting it a little bit for everybody out there, was your leg was basically crushed by a
Mhm.
boulder. Your femur was cracked in half, or not even half, it was like split apart from what I see on the
Mhm.
x-ray that I saw. Just a freak accident that happened. You had mentioned that, pretty much a low point, and from there on it was a life-changing experience for you. The pain in that I know is terrible, so I hate to
Mhm.
bring it up, but if
Oh.
you can give our listeners a background, because I think in life we all have one for sure, maybe two or three happenings that come along that kind of change our mind process, our thought
Mhm.
process, changes our mind, changes our way, our path sometimes. And it seemed like this was the change for you.
It was a huge monumental moment. I felt like, so it happened when I was 35, and I was leading a group to India in the Himalayas. And we had done this trek that was really deep into the Himalayas on top of this glacier called Tapovan. And it was the very last day of the trip, and we were coming down from Tapovan. And Tapovan, for your listeners, in it means heaven on earth. So you can imagine it was very high up. It was about 15,000 feet up.
Mhm.
An incredibly beautiful place. It was oasis on this glacier. And we were coming down, and a boulder was coming towards our group. Somebody said, "Look up." And I looked up at too late. And as I turned, it hit me in the leg and um, broke it in half. I didn't actually know it was broken in half until I got to the hospital eventually. But this happened in the morning, and there was an Indian air base nearby. We were expecting that they could send a helicopter to come and get me.
Mhm.
And towards the afternoon, it was around 4 o'clock, and there was no help coming. And there was a moment there when I realized this could be it. We
Yeah.
were on this glacier, the sun was setting, the temperature was dropping. All of our clothes had gone ahead with the porter, so we had nothing there with us. There was no wood for a fire as we were on a glacier. And there was just a moment where I had to find that inner peace, the inner contentment, if you will,
Mhm.
and take gratitude for everything at that moment, and just be content with this could be it. And that awareness shifted a lot of things within me, um, and kind of created more immediacy in my life. Obviously, we're talking, so help did arrive in the form of porters who then proceeded to carry me down the mountain. And just for your listeners, I know most of them are US, so I'll talk imperial. It was about 20 miles that they had to carry me, and
Oh, wow.
down this glacier, down this mountain, in the pitch black. It was dark out. There was no stars in the sky, and it was this narrow path. On at some points, there was like this sheer rock face, and on the other side, there was this drop 200 meters below with the Ganges. And so it was quite something. I actually had images sometimes of me, them dropping me and falling into the river 200 meters below. And and then we got to the ambulance that was waiting for us 20 miles away. And then the ambulance took off, and then we hit an avalanche. And so we got stuck there for about 12 hours.
Wow.
No, it was one comedic thing after another. And when you're faced with that situation, there's only two choices. There's choice of I'm a victim, or there's a choice of this is where I am. I can choose to be a happy mess in this moment. And that was one of the lessons one of my teachers imparted to me a few years before that, that I just learned to laugh at life's problems, and be a happy mess. And there was nothing else that I could do. And I said to a friend that was with me, also one of my students, and I said, Tom, here I am, I guess we have to learn to make lemons into lemonade. And he responded with something very insightful. He said, why not just enjoy the lemons? And that experience has obviously shaped me a lot in life, and helped me to deal with, the things that come up in life, the cataclysmic, I can't say that word right now, but the
Cataclysmic,
bit.
I think, right.
Thank you. That word. The big things that come up in life, and just take it all as a blessing rather than constantly fighting against the things that are causing a little discomfort.
It goes full circle because that is kind of exactly what yoga is all about.
Yes.
It's a life-changing thing where you forget about the things that happen for a little while. You just kind of just there with your inner peace. And that's the reason why I brought that up last, because we start with the yoga talk and we go into the life-changing experience, and it's a full circle. It really is a
Yeah.
full circle how, sometimes it takes a life-changing experience. For me, it was the doctor telling me, well, I've had two, but the most recent one was the doctor telling me, hey, it's kind of funny. I got your blood work and I don't understand how you haven't had multiple serious heart attacks. And I'm like, are you serious?
Mm,
Like, yeah, your cholesterol's bad. Your heart's pretty much just a big old, thing ready to go. And that's like, okay, I got to relax. And I was terrified. So I had to relax and understand, okay, this is what I got to do. He's telling me what to
yes.
do. And I did it. So we all got those life-changing experiences. We all have those life-changing moments. I haven't had that one in the sense of a boulder hitting me. The closest I've had was a car accident, but
Yeah.
luckily I was okay in that one. But nonetheless, it is a circle, basically a circle of life. You have that change experience. You've got to relax. Yoga's right there for you, get you the inner peace, takes your body. You're basically talking to your body, is what it is, and
Yeah.
your mind is in at a full relaxation. Talking to Yogi Aaron, before we let you go, I wanted to give you the opportunity to let everybody know how they can reach you, any information you want to give them. But before that, you've got a revolutionary type thing going here. It's Ayama. I'm going to pronounce it, but it's AYAMA, and
That
it's
was correct.
oh, awesome. See, I got a first
Awesome.
try here. It stands for Applied Yoga Anatomy Plus Muscle Activation. Give our listeners a little better understanding of that, and then any information you want to provide here as we end this segment here on Sweep Unplugged.
So my big thing is to flip the script in yoga, because I feel like yoga, or sorry, that stretching and flexibility has hijacked yoga. And stretching and flexibility has absolutely, I'll say that one more time for the cheap seats in the back, the absolutely nothing to do with yoga. Absolutely nothing. Anytime you see a teacher teaching stretching and yoga, it has absolutely nothing to do with it. So my big goal is to do that. And applied yoga anatomy and muscle activation is the culmination of that. What we're teaching people is two things. One, a little bit about their body, how it works, and to experience anatomy coming alive within themselves. So we all hear about hip flexors. If you ask most people what their hip flexors are, they don't know. But what I do is I teach people and give them a living experience of that. So that's the applied yoga anatomy part of it. And then the muscle activation is that flipping the script. Instead of stretching, what we're looking to do is to activate muscles. So with your wife who's dealing with her sciatic pain, she would actually start to improve dramatically because we're no longer stretching, aka making muscles weaker. We're now starting to activate muscles, aka getting muscles stronger, so they can start doing their job properly, which is to stabilize the joints of the body and move bones safely.
Perfect. See,
So,
I'm
to
gonna.
answer your question, people can access it if they go to my website, yogiaaron.com. If you could put that in the show notes, that would be great. And
Sure.
right away, people can access, I have a free 7-day pain free series where I start to take people on a journey of their body, introduce them to their body, and how they can start to become pain free just with simple kind of hacks. I call them hacks, and if they want to learn more, they can start to obviously learn more. And there's a lot of ways people can access me, and also people can also reach out to me on Instagram, and I'm always there to assist and help wherever I can.
Awesome, awesome. We're
Yeah.
talking to Yogi Aaron, and he's giving you all the access to him there. He's telling you where to get a hold of him. You guys out there, stretching is important, but if you're doing it wrong, it's no good. You got to go with Yogi Aaron here, our official yoga master, as I've called him. He's giving me a little bit of permission to call him that here for Sweep the League. So I appreciate you joining us today, and I look forward to talking to my wife, and hopefully she'll be able to get in contact with you. That way, she can
Yeah.
maybe get the best thing. Now, like I said, she hasn't had any issues yet, but it's cold in San Antonio now. It's getting cold. This is kind of where she starts to feel it a little bit. So
Yeah.
definitely she may be having some issues, but I will give her your contact information. And again, I appreciate you joining us here on Sweep the League and Sweep Unplugged.
Thank you so much, Rudy, for having me on. It's been a pleasure.
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Yogi Aaron, for joining us here. Until we come back with another episode of Sweep Unplugged, stay tuned. Be sure to go to YouTube, search Sweep the League TV, be a subscriber where you can get all the Sweep Unplugged episodes, as well as Lean Left, Lean Right, Best Boys podcast, everything else, STL music, tons of stuff on the network. So appreciate Yogi Aaron coming on. And until we sweep the league and we have another Sweep Unplugged, we'll see you guys later.